and styles of how you write. And the one is plotting. The other one is sorry, I'm just found out my music stopped, so I'm playing it again so you can hear it. There you go. See, Pretzel Rocks. There you go. But the other one, so there's plotting, there's pantsing. And then the plotting is a little bit more structured and, you have an outline, you got to really pretty much adhere to it. And you go through this entire process of, you have outline, and then you have you figure out your plot points, and then you plot it along like a grid. There is a famous, plot grid out there. I haven't looked it up in a few years, but you can look it up. It's J.K. Rowling actually did a plot grid for all of her Harry Potter books. You can go up online. She has it somewhere, but it's pretty crazy because you see this big grid of, her plot points and the characters and whatnot. So you can that is definitely what a plotter does. They specifically plot, along the way. Now, a pantser comes more from the mindset of flying by the seat of your pants. And, just getting up there, being more inspired by the creativity, letting that really follow through, and then letting that shine. And then there's no true, I'd say there's direction, but there's not a plotted direction. It just sort of comes from the creativity. I'm a pantser. I definitely like to pants. I think I've talked about Nano the last stream, but I'll probably talk about it a lot. I love Nano. Nano is a great organization. What they do is you write a novel in a month, national write a novel in a month. I always get that wrong, but in November, and it's great for pantsers because what you do is you basically just throw up all the words that you have to make a book in 1 month, about 50,000. So, and that's sort of what we do here is we don't really edit. We don't, whatever, we just, wherever the inspiration comes, we just throw it up there. So that the pantser tends to be a little more fluid and loosey-goosey and that type of thing. And so you definitely have the structured versus the creative in the two different approaches. And, so the question is, which one? Well, one, which are you? Are you a plotter or are you a pantser? And like I said, I'm a pantser. So, yeah, Nano is great. It is awesome. It really is. So it is definitely a great organization. And I love that they're very much about support and community as well. And so how I view the pantsing versus the plotting, one, you got to figure out, sort of which approach you are. And you don't necessarily have to, quote unquote, figure it out, but it's just a different approach, because they're different methodologies. And you'll get the end result of a book complete or a story complete, but just a different way of getting there. You're straight plotted or a little bit roundabout with, where the creativity takes you. Now, one thing I've sort of discovered is, for me, I like a hybrid approach. Like, I need to be when I first get the idea, I first have the concept, I need to just throw it up there. And that's why Nano is so great, is you throw it up there, you do what you can. But after I throw it up there, what do I do with it? And that's where I get a little bit more plottery. Okay, that's not quite a word, but I plot a little bit more. Maybe not to the extent of what J.K. Rowling did, but maybe, what's going to go next. I do create an outline after I create the initial story. I'm a reformed pantser. because I lose track too much and head out into tangents. Yes, Jackie, that is, I understand that. That is one of the challenges with pantsing, is you can get lost or your story loses direction. And so, again, that's sort of where I like the idea of the hybrid approach, is you just throw up whatever you have. And a good example is, I'm trying to think of one of my Skipping Stones, one of the stories I wrote, published. It is a very plottery, yes. So the story I wrote with my husband is I came up with the story, right? And it was very, very pantsy. And I actually still have it somewhere. I actually wrote the initial couple pages, or idea and concept, on the back of a crossword puzzle book, because I do crossword puzzles. Ooh, that's what we could do too. We could do crossword puzzles. Anyways, but I did that, and then I wrote probably about 25,000 words by hand, mind you. I personally tend to write the initial story by hand. I'm a little old-fashioned that way, but I like it because I feel like it gets it flowing. But what I did is I still had to type it in. So my husband helped me type it in. And then once we got it in, we had to figure out, how to get from, point A to point B, but also what was going to happen. And then with the two of us, we started creating an outline. And so this is where the hybrid notion of plotter and pantser come in. At least how I used it was, I used the pantsing methodology to get the initial concept and story out. But then I used the plotter methodology to flesh it out and really get the details. And that worked for me. But I think what I just want to tell everyone here is, you don't necessarily have to do one or the other, or you even do the hybrid. This is just what worked for me. But what you have to do is do what works best for you. So if it works great to be a pantser, and you're really good at that, and you can get the whole story through, then just do that, and then what you feel comfortable with. If you're really good at plotting and you need to do that all along the whole way, then do that. And if you can find a good hybrid, then do that. Just one of the things with writing is you got to do what's right for you. And I've gone to heard a lot of speakers, got a lot of different places, and there's so many different ways of what to do. But I think most importantly, you gotta, and it takes time to figure out what works for you. So anyways, for me, the hybrid approach really, really worked, because I got to be creative, but had a little bit of structure, but then I had flexibility within that structure, and that sort of worked for me. So along those lines, we are going to